Sonic Shogakukan Manga Issue 2. Out of nowhere, we start out with Sonic in a boxing match with Anton, already in his blue form, so that's good. That should happen more often if the story's not going to have anything happen when he's in his brown form, other than Amy being kidnapped and him getting attacked as usual. This just cuts out the padding. But I'm just wondering how this boxing match in a boxing arena was officially set up for them, when they're not boxers. After Sonic easily dodges his attacks, he actually does get hit, which is a nice change of pace for his blue form. It's like the writers are finally realizing they can have Sonic have vulnerable moments when he's not in his brown form, without needing a brown form to justify it. It turns out that Anton's cheating because his boxing gloves suddenly have retractable spikes on them. First off, that would kill Sonic in a single hit. But the fact that it didn't and left barely noticeable injuries proves that he had rings when he was hit. So if he had rings, well, I guess the way rings work is that you only feel pain for a little bit while the invisible rings rapidly heal you and disappear. So you're not literally invincible with them. You just get healed so quickly that you might as well be. But more importantly, how did Anton get away with bringing these gloves? He'd be disqualified immediately. Why isn't he? The story is stupid. Also, how did he make those gloves? How do you have access to that kind of metal? I guess he made it out of knives. Realistically, when he misses his next attack, the spikes get stuck in a stake in the boxing arena. That's interesting. He tells Sonic that's cowardly to strike someone who is unable to move. It's cowardly on his part to be afraid of that instead of just punching him, regardless of whether he's standing still or not. But Sonic doesn't care about honor, so he punches him a lot, sending his shorts off somehow. And Anton ends up hanging off a tree, suddenly being much skinnier than last issue. Huh? Okay, it makes sense that Nicky dyed his fur blue because his dad does. What took him so long then? So we cut to Nicky being told about what happened with Sonic. And I'm pleasantly surprised that we see his badass father again. Although I have to wonder why he's wearing a merely brown jacket instead of the cooler black one. For no reason, he asks his father if he knows about Sonic, even though it should be obvious that everyone in town knows about Sonic since he's been a town legend for at least 2 months. This is a very forced way of getting his dad to tell him a story that happened 20 years ago, that he never told anyone before. Not even his wife, apparently. Where's Nicky's mother? What took him so long to tell this to his own son? He says that back when he was just a test pilot, his jet was about to exceed its maximum speed limit. It's impressively realistic that we see Jules wearing an oxygen mask and a protective helmet, and he's strapped in when he's in that jet. Jules is faster to say than Sonic's dad, so deal with it. Suddenly there was a disruption in the atmospheric circulation. Huh? How? So he starts to crash. We should have gotten a better explanation than that. This feels contrived. Then he heard a voice telling him to pull himself together. Polly? That sounds like Polly, a girl's name. No badass like him would want to go by that. I swear, first him and now the name Nicky. It's like the Japanese who named these characters had no idea what English names were like. That combined with his name having 2 syllables instead of 1, and Jules is officially the better name. Even Ken Penders had a better name for Sonic's dad. Anyways, he says that out of nowhere, Sonic appeared beside him and told him to pull the lever to the side. How would he know what to do when he doesn't? So thanks to Sonic somehow magically teleporting to inside the jet with him, with no protective gear and oxygen mask like he had with no consequences at all, he managed to survive and land the jet. This is stupid. This didn't need to be written. What a waste of comic space. I was expecting him to say that he turns into some kind of Sonic. And that would have made a little bit more sense because it explained Nicky's powers as being genetic. It turns out he thinks Sonic is a kind of divine protector to protect him wherever he goes. So he always wears a Sonic emblem on the back of his jacket. I still wish it was black. That's kind of creepy, but he is technically right that he'd protect him if Nicky happened to be around him and got motivated to turn into Sonic. Remember, just an issue ago, Sonic said that Anton's going to regret laying his hands on him. He had a lot of guts to beat him up. He was talking as if he was Nicky, and he remembers being Nicky. And this is talking as if Sonic has always been a separate person from Nikki. That doesn't make any sense. We're told that Jules had landed his plane right next to Sonic's mom's house, and she was a blonde with a green bow and red dress. I'm impressed that we got to see Sonic's mother. No Sonic fan would ever imagine that there would be a continuity of Sonic out there with parents for Sonic other than Archie. She hopes that he isn't hurt, as I hope that she doesn't have a terrible name. So far, she has the exact same personality as Sonic's mom from Archie, so she adds nothing. And predictably, this was when they first met. Wait a minute, how did Sonic exist then if Nikki wasn't conceived yet? How can Nikki turn into Sonic? What determines who can turn into Sonic? This is definitely more convoluted than Sonic being a magical transformation of Nikki to protect him. Because apparently he's a literal divine protector. This would make more sense if we were told that he was a ghost of Sonic from an era-long past. And he spends his afterlife protecting people like this. That's totally a thing Sonic would do if he was a ghost. But again, how did he choose Nikki in particular? There's billions of other people on the planet. I never thought it could get more convoluted and confusing than it was before. And did they have to draw Jules' tongue sticking out just because he's in love with her? Oh, we actually see Sonic's mom right beside him in the present day. So she is still alive. And now we finally see that Tanya's supposed to be yellow, like her. Then, what is this? This looks weirder than anything in Archie. It turns out it's a little fake rat in Sonic's house that had surveillance cameras for eyes. A brilliant idea for Eggman. And that camera footage proves to Eggman that there is a connection between Nikki and Sonic. Why is he saying "I knew it," as if Nikki and Sonic being connected is just now new information to him? Well, at least it's not literally camera footage of Nikki turning into Sonic so that he could expose his secret, but you'd think he'd be able to get Anton to turn him into Sonic really easily on tape by beating him up, and expose his secret in the first ever issue, so the whole premise of the manga is forced. He would have revealed him immediately. Instead, Sonic conveniently only transforms when he's not in front of other people. It's been months by now. Someone would have figured it out. Where's Tails? If this is the only thing that the manga has that's unique other than Anton, and plenty of shows have bullies in them, then that shouldn't be the only thing unique about it, because that unique thing should have been gotten rid of immediately, logically. Eggman says in a flying airship near a volcano and lake that next month, Sonic's power will all be his. The Sonic power sounds stupid. Realistically, he wouldn't take an entire month to do his next plan. I mean, he already has a flying airship, and his next plan involves a flying airship. I guess it took him a month to make the robot that they'll see later, but he should have made that by now. Like, what was he doing last month if not making robots they could use for this issue? And he has a white mustache like Eggman Manga, but this was long before he was thought up. But yeah, he only says next month as a meta thing where apparently the next issue was released a month later. Wow, this was a disappointing story. It starts out confusing because I don't know how a legitimate boxing match with an arena was set up between Sonic and Anton in the first place. Usually Nikki turns into Sonic right away with no advance warning and doesn't last for very long. So I guess Anton happened to stumble into Sonic after making Nikki transform and asked him to come to the arena. And Sonic doesn't turn down a challenge. So after Anton gets away with trying to punch him with spiked gloves, the gloves' spikes get stuck on a wooden stake, which was interesting. And Sonic easily humiliates him after being hit once. All well and good, with Anton getting a little slapstick, if not nearly enough to be satisfying. But instead of the plot continuing with a good story, it meanders off into Sonic's dad talking about how he first met his wife, and it's confusing as hell. Somehow Sonic as a transformation existed before Nikki was even conceived, and knew to teleport into his jet when it was crashing, and knew how to instruct him so that he didn't crash, and then arbitrarily vanished like a ghost afterwards. So, Sonic is a ghost? I wish we were just told that. But even then, that doesn't explain how he decided to be Nikki's transformation in particular when there's billions of people in the world. At every moment of the day, there's someone who needs help. So if Sonic is always magically showing up to spend his afterlife being a hero, then it sure is lucky for Sonic's dad that he had the time to choose to help him. And Nikki. And the jet even crashing in the first place was barely explained. Some kind of atmosphere fluctuation. That was contrived. It could work if it was explained more fully, but it isn't. And Eggman overhears this and plans against Sonic. So what took him so long? Why didn't he kidnap Nikki from his home? Why didn't he do it a long time ago and constantly do it if he knew he had a connection with Sonic for so long? Nikki is harmless to him, and yet his stupid dialogue is pretending they just now found out he was connected with Sonic. But that doesn't tell him he has a connection, it tells him that Sonic's dad coincidentally had an encounter with him before he was born. That's not even a connection. That's as much a connection as anybody who meets a celebrity but isn't friends with them has with that celebrity.